This is our project where we're going to be working and building a table. So a table is best used initially for things that are tabular type data. So we have, in this case, we've got students, we've got their names, we've got projects that they've worked on, and we're displaying, let's say, their grades for each project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the table, and you are going to go about making the style block so that it will first off look like this. And so your table is going to look a little bit more like this right here. Once I paste the correct code in, and it'll start to look like this. So you'll see none of the styling is there. You'll notice that at the top of the code you will have two sets of styles to begin working on. All right, so as you do that, you are going to add in styles for the following. You're going to want a font size. So in that case, we're going to type in font size. Okay, and you notice you got a preemptive thing that you could have clicked and made it work. And so we could do, remember, we can do pixel sizes. We could say 48 pixels. Okay, and by putting that semicolon there, you'll notice that now my type size increases. Wow, that's really big. Let's say we want to go down in size, but instead, remember we had a different unit we tried in class. We used the relative M size, and what you do is you put a number beside that. It could be 1, which will keep it the same size it currently is, or we could do 2, and you'll see 2 will increase that size like this, but it does it to all of them. So what I want you to notice is we actually have two different things happening here. We have a table division. Remember, these are table rows. This is a table division, this square, this entire little square right here. Okay, but you notice we have a different one here. We have a TH. That is a table header. That's these here. Okay, so that is a separate type of table division, and we have the ability to affect both of them together. So in this case, by putting 2M for my font size here, it affects not only the table header, but it also affects the table rows. Well, what if instead I simply said I only want the table header to be the correct size? I'm going to indent my font size there, and now my table header is a different size than my table division. Well, here I might want my font family, it's supposed to have a hyphen there. I want it to be sans serif. Okay, and I can do that. Now we have sans serif. Okay, and remember we also have spacing. Spacing for the text is based on the line height. Okay, that line height could be also done in pixels. We say 20 pixels, and you'll notice that things get bigger, but it's the size of the text that gets bigger, and how squashed it is. So line height is going to determine that. So we could also do this in relative M units. We could say 1 rem, and you'll notice our top header is going to get really squished, whereas the body cells are also going to get squished a bit, but not as pronounced as our header. So you could do 3 rem. That's going to space things out quite a bit. The next thing we're going to do is, we've already done font family. Let's affect the color. Color is, and you could just decide to pick some numbers here. You can only do 6 of them. So I choose 9 through 4, And you notice we get this kind of brownish tan color. You could do 1 through 6, and you'll notice you get this kind of dark blue color. You could do a gray, which will look kind of like, I don't know, let's try 26, 26, 26. And everything will go to this kind of a really dark gray. If we said we wanted all C's, you could do that. By the way, color, you can actually, if it's all going to be the same, you could literally only put 3. And it'll work, but you can still do all 6 and it'll still work. So if I change that to, I don't know, let's go AA, that's going to be our color, slightly darker gray. In this case, I'm going to choose, I don't know, a really, really dark gray, which is 21, 21, 21. It's almost black. For you, you'll probably think it's black, okay? Now, the last thing we might want to do is we might want to affect the padding inside the cell. So padding, what padding does is it actually, so I'm gonna come down and, oops, I was hoping that would take padding, and I'm gonna say, again, we can do this in pixels. We could do 12 pixels, and that actually puts padding from the edge into the content. So what it does is it's imagining that you're taking some packaging material, some cardboard or something, to put a pad between the edge of the box and the stuff inside. Okay, that's one way to do it. You can also give it padding in rims as well. So we could say 1 rim, and that's going to change it to some degree. All right, so we've seen that. Now, the last part I want to do, or I want to try out, and I want to see if this might be something I want to put on the TD or on the division and the header as well, is I might want to do align the text. So that's text, align, center. So that's how that should work, and notice all of my text gets centered, okay? You notice my font size for my headers is a different size than the body, okay? You could actually come in and do a separate thing where it's TD, and you could then open that up. Oh, not TD, it should be TD, not TC. So there we would say maybe I want the color to be, I don't know, let's do that. Let's do something like this. Remember, we got to put that pound sign in the front and a semicolon. All right, now we notice that our TDs have a different color font than our header. You know what? I think that header's a bit too large, so we're going to say that's 1.5. Yes, you can do decimal points when it comes to rims. And so that's our style. I want you to take a look at that, play with those things, and try to see what you can do with this. Again, giving me these columns, these rows, I'm going to supply that to you, and I'm going to do that by getting rid of all of these styles, and I'm going to now notice that everything goes back to this kind of weird, funky look. How is it that student name is still centered? None of those should be centered right now. Let's try this again. Let's see what that does. TH, those are THs, so maybe it thinks that they should all be centered. So one of the things we're going to do in the future is we're going to align them differently. Student names, we probably want those to all be left aligned. Projects and their grades, we might want them to be left or right or center aligned. So go on ahead and start working on that, and then we'll come back and revisit the project and make it better.